Mech yeah, how's it going, guys? I'm Gabriel, and today we're gonna be making a disco beat. I don't know if you guys heard what happened, but a few days ago, the group Daft decided to end their partnership, and to most of you, this was a tragic news. Same with me. Like, I've been a massive fan of Daft Punk for years and years now. I remember my earliest memories of music was listening to One More Time. And I decided to make this video as a way to pay tribute to all their amazing work. So at the end of the video, you guys can watch my interpretation of how I would sing a Daft Punk type beat. So throughout the video, you're going to be watching me using some of the instruments that they've used. And in the end, what you guys are going to see is not an exact song made by Daft Punk, but it's something that is very inspired by them, but with a little touch of my own creative side. So the first idea was to add some chords that would outline the whole song. The type of sound that I went for was based on this track called Fragments of Time, and you guys can hear it in the Random Access Memories album. The next instrument I used was a DX7, and the main reference I got from that was from listening a song called Giorgio by Moroder, who was a massive producer in the late 70s, and he was one of the pioneers for Italo disco, and he was also a massive inspiration for Daft Punk. After I recorded the DX7, I then went on and added a J37 to help with getting more of a vintage kind of sound, and I also added a decapitator to increase some of the harmonics, and also I put a wider to, like the name says, to widen it up a little bit in the panorama, and then I just use a little EQ to take out some of the low end. I then started working a little bit more on the beat by adding just a simple clap and a shaker to get a rhythm going. So now let's add the same instrument and build the chords for the pre-chorus section. And now let's add some guitars, and for me this is the best part out of the whole track. Even though the guitar wasn't that famous in their first projects, you can definitely hear towards the end of their albums that it became very important to them. And the person responsible for this is this amazing musician, producer, and guitarist called Nile Rodgers. And he became very famous in the late 70s with his group Chic. You guys probably know the song called Freak Out. It was a massive hit, and he is one of the best guitarists for funk music and for disco music. So the beat is flowing, and now I wanted to add another synthesizer, and this is another very, very famous one in the music production world, which is called the Moog, and it's very, very popular for bass lines and for leads. Speaking of bass lines, now let's add the bass. And the kind of groove that I went for, you can definitely hear in a lot of the Daft Punk tracks, but especially in Around the World. So after that, I added the bass, I started working a little bit more towards the chorus. Let's see how it's sounding.
In this section, all I've done was I added a couple of kicks, a bottom kick and a top kick. I added new chords for that road kind of instrument, and also a hi-hat loop. And now let's add more guitars for this chorus section.
Okay, so now I started working a little bit more on the vocals, and I wrote the lyrics, and based on what I have for the vocals, I used this other instrument, if you want to call it an instrument. It's more of a kind of an effect that is very particular in their production, and that is called a vocoder. And also another type of effect that they used was a talk box, and you can hear this in songs like Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger. The robotic sound that made them famous was used by these kind of effects. After I worked on the vocoder and the vocals that I sang on, I went back to the main project and just did a little mix, and what you guys are gonna be hearing now is the final project. So if you guys really like this kind of video where I go in depth into how an artist made their production, let me know in the comments if you want me to do more videos like this for other artists. And like all the other videos, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit that bell button so you're always notified whenever I release new content. Ciao, ciao.
One more time. Thank you for all the good times. Don't know how this happened, I guess that's just life. We had no clue, and now say goodbye. You had us all clapping, never been on strife. Cause I remember singing one more time around the world and lose yourself to dance. You'll forever be a fragment of time, though we lost the touch. You have made us harder, better, faster, and stronger. You'll never be forgotten, cause you